Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 342 at scavengerlife.com.
Happy New Year 2018.
Happy New Year.
Ryan. Yes, it's the new year.
Oh, man.
Which for us in this house is just like, it's another day.
I went to bed at 9:30 that night.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. We had a good 2017, you know?
Yeah.
I felt like everything we've been building has kind of...
It's happening.
It's like... It's maturing. It's like a good wine, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I'll talk a bit more about it in a bit, but, you know, I feel like a lot of stuff that we had been working on had finally kind of been paying off and, you know...
Yeah.
Kind of gelled. I don't know all the right metaphors for it, but it felt good, you know?
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, you look around and you're like, oh, all the things we wanted to do, it happened.
So we've been selling online on eBay for about 10 years now.
It's about 10 years.
Yep. We started, you know, kind of like mid-2018, so we're not quite there at 10 years, but, you know.
Okay, yeah, so it was 2008.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, 2008.
Yeah.
It's 2018 now.
But so, yeah, it's getting to that point.
And, you know, people that haven't heard our story, so the first couple of years, eBay was kind of like part-time, extra cash.
Hobby.
I guess there wasn't a switch where, you know, it's temporary and then it's not. I remember in those first couple of years, we still depended on outside work, you know, our video work.
Yeah, that's true.
To pay our bills. And I just remember it was like, it's when we bought this house and we were renovating it. We're doing all that. It's video work. I mean,
we're doing a lot of video work.
Paid for
that's true.
A lot of stuff. And then I remember when the house was getting done, we were making regular money on eBay. Where I was like, we could stop taking video jobs. We could just live on eBay, and we started doing that. You know?
Yeah.
And ever since then, every single month, without fail, we have made enough on eBay to pay for all our bills and more, you know?
Yep.
Without fail, you know?
I mean, there even is, you know...
And if you send me $500, I'll tell you my secrets.
Hey, you know, there are those times sometimes where it's a slow day or slow week and you're like, is it done?
Yeah.
But to hear you say, like, it's been basically 8 years of steady income as you put the work in. So, you know.
I was talking to your mom on the phone. Just her and I were having a private conversation.
It's so funny. I'll just, like, walk into the house randomly, and Jay's on the phone with my mom. I'm like...
I love your mom. So we were having a private conversation, but what we were talking about was... We were talking about eBay a couple of years ago, and I remember this because we were in Austin for a time.
Oh, yes.
It was like the slowest time on eBay it's ever been, where I really was having questions like, is this over with?
Yeah.
I mean, where we were making, you know, $600 in a week during the
summer. It's
summertime. And I think, and your mom totally said the same thing, whereas in 2000, this past 12 it's months. We've done great. I mean, I don't think we had a slow week one time.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I think that was too, a couple of years ago, eBay had that thing where Google slammed them for having spam
That was
everywhere.
then. I remember that was then.
And I think that really hurt them, and eBay's really kind of come back or clawed their way back.
That's interesting.
You know. And I will say, being on eBay now for a decade now, I mean... That's why I laugh when people are like, "Oh, eBay! This is the year eBay's going to fail."
The eBay killer.
Somebody, you know, Facebook's going to come along, Amazon's going to kill eBay, and it just doesn't happen. So, I mean, I guess it could at some point.
I don't know. I've never seen anything strong enough that is unique enough.
Right.
You know,
Etsy, Poshmark. I mean, and
well, we talked about what was it? Let Go and
OfferUp. Yeah, and we even posted, 10 things on there or something?
On OfferUp, I posted,
just some furniture and stuff. And
I've heard nothing crickets. It's completely...
I think those sites are probably good if you're trying to find stuff, or if you're trying to just get rid of stuff cheap.
For cheap. Just like Craigslist.
Yeah.
It's just on your phone.
Okay, so this week was a busy week of solving problems. we came back from this great kind of vacation.
Everything was going great.
Urban vacation from it's Manhattan. We're like such cool people. And then like we come home and it's nothing to do with eBay, but just has to do with being
business people.
Our cleaner, who we've had now for
2 years.
2 years.
It's 2 years, man.
And she's been great. And she's been cleaning our houses. Like, we'll clean like once a month, but for the most part, she'll clean
She's
all
consistent.
the time. We can text her. She just went MIA. Like,
yeah.
She canceled on us one day, and we had 2 houses to do. And she canceled on us like
the minute they had to be cleaned.
Right. And we had 3 hours to clean them, so we had to like split up, and I cleaned one house, you cleaned the other house. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry because of all these, things." And then she's like, "I'll be there tomorrow and I'll clean this house for you." And that day comes and she's just
gone.
Didn't say anything. And then she wrote back to us and then, we go and clean the house. And then she texts us and had some excuses. And it's just like, okay, let's put this on hold for a while. So we're going back to cleaning the houses ourselves.
Now, the thing about cleaning the houses ourselves, it's not the work. Like, I don't mind that work. I'm like, yeah, I'll do the work.
Right.
It's the time it takes away from other things like eBay.
Yeah, I mean...
That's the tough thing.
We... Just like on eBay, we've always done everything ourselves.
Yeah.
So we cleaned that house for a couple of years.
It was like 2 years.
Ourselves. So I know how to clean the toilet. I know how to make the bed. I know where all the dirt lives.
I know how I want it cleaned.
Yeah, I know all the little weird things I need to always check. So it's not a big deal. But yeah, we learned, and people gave us the advice of like, well, if you hire someone for $25 an hour, then you save that amount of time and can get a lot done. And we learned that was true.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just what we've also just said how it's difficult to find people who are reliable,
Well, what's so funny is she was reliable for 2 years straight. And then all these things happened at once that was just like...
I mean, I try and cut people slack, like, maybe it was, it's like the holidays, maybe there's some family chaos that happened that sucked her in. I don't know. But at the end of the day... she has a cleaning business,
right,
where people help her clean,
right,
and we have a business, and I need, if I can't call people and be like, "Oh, I know that you just drove down from Canada to stay in our rental, but
it's not clean.
I'm just got a lot going on. It's just not going to happen. I got to cancel this. I can't do that. Like, I'm running a business, and I have to do everything I can to.
Right. So this is obviously a longer conversation, but part of the issue was the second time it happened, she didn't message us at all.
Right.
There was actually no message until 3 days later that she was having some issue.
I mean,
so that is a huge problem,
I think the other reason why I have a sympathy and a little bit is because I have had times in my life when I was that way. And it was mainly when I was a younger man.
Yes.
Much more irresponsible and focused on my own life, like so wrapped up in my own drama that I would do stuff like that, I think
when you're young, we've all done that. When you're a teenager, when you're in college, and you're just like, whatever.
But not when you're 35 or...
She's 40 years old.
She's 40.
She's older than me. Okay. And so I'm kind of like...
Yeah.
It's not acceptable.
It's a business,
Yeah, so dealing with that was super stressful. Yesterday we had another issue that was also... We solved it, but it was also super
issue. We only bring this up because, just like on when we all run an eBay it's business too, things will happen. And really, the health of your business depends on how you deal with that thing. So... We had another family come and stay at one of our rentals. It happens to be the coldest weekend
in years.
It got down to
0
degrees Fahrenheit.
We're in Virginia,
which doesn't happen very often here. And so, unfortunately, the power went out to that house. Yeah. And the good thing is, it's my phone. I have an app, and it tells me from the power company when the power's out. So I saw the power's out. I was like, oh no.
And this is at 7 a.m.
So and they have like a little tiny infant, so I'm thinking of like a frozen baby. So, I text them and just tell them like the power's out. And then I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and the power company's giving us estimates of when it'll get fixed, and it keeps getting pushed back. And then finally we were like, look, we're going to rent you
a hotel room.
Actually, 2 of them, because there were two couples
hotel rooms
in the nicest hotel in our town.
Yep.
And basically, for one night of those 2 hotel rooms was as much as we charged them for the whole weekend. So basically, we didn't lose any money, but we
didn't make any money.
Didn't make any money, and the people were fine, and they were happy.
Yeah, they were fine.
But it was kind of a stressful day for us because number one, we don't like when things are going wrong like that, and number 2,
and we don't have control. We're like, we don't know what is going on, other than it's out. And
it just seemed not overly, but it just seemed really.
I was very worried.
I mean,
I think part of it is like, it's the slow season in our area, so the hotel did have rooms. But we had a couple solutions. So if none of the hotels, the nice hotels, had any space, what we could have done, like you said, was completely refund them and let them decide what they want to do.
Right.
Do they want to drive to the next biggest town and find something?
Go home, whatever.
Right,
yeah.
They could have decided on their own. And I think the stressful part of yesterday was us kind of learning as we went what made sense.
Right.
You call the hotel at 8 a.m. and they're like, yeah, but they can't check in at 8 a.m. So you're just like, what do I do?
Right.
You handle things like that very well.
Well, I will say, to give myself a little bit of
I'm giving you
credit.
A lot of credit.
I feel like I do pretty good in those kind of situations.
Because not even human level.
Yeah.
You're
look. Why don't we talk about it? I think the reason why it's easier in those kind of stressful, because things become very clear.
Yeah.
It's just like something has to get done,
right.
and it's just like on eBay.
Yeah.
You send an item and something goes wrong. It's with the item, it breaks, and the person's upset. I mean, sometimes it's just so simple. It's just like, okay, we're gonna make you better.
Right.
I'm not gonna make any money on this. I might even
lose money.
Lose some, but at least I'm doing the right thing.
You've solved the problem.
I'm treating them the way I would want to be.
Yeah.
Treated. And so the guy who's staying there, him and his family, we text back and forth.
Right.
And I mean, I've even met him, but I feel like it's my buddy now. And he texted me this morning and was like, thanks for, taking care of us. I know it's kind of crazy. I know it was out of your control, but he said, at least I felt like you were handling it.
Right.
And it's true.
The best that we could.
Right. Because the worst thing is, even if you sell something to someone on eBay, I mean, I think that's the thing that people that sell on eBay, the people that sell on eBay that talk about people who buy are crazy. People start getting crazy when they feel like
they're being ignored.
Yeah, you're ignoring them. You're not handling things.
Right.
You're not giving them options,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think we were both having this. I mean, I was kind of bummed. I'm like, Jesus, we're going to spend, $400 on hotel rooms.
Right.
Our money's gone.
And
I'm just like, oh, I wish we didn't have to do this. And it's not our fault. It's the electric company.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do?
Maybe
Build the electric company?
The power's going to come back on at 6, so why can't they just wait? But then at the end of the day, you're like, it doesn't matter. I nickel and dime these people.
Right.
And it's just like if you sell a Walkman or something and it breaks and it's $50. I mean, sometimes we just got to eat that.
You just have to be like, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing too with the situation was sometimes I was texting with my mom because I was like, I feel so horrible. She's like, sometimes it's just a perfect storm of circumstances. It's the coldest weekend on record for years. They have a little infant and another little kid.
Yeah, it was.
So it was like all these things. Whereas if it were the springtime and it was like a couple with their dog, it was probably, you're like, go out for the day, have a hike, come home.
He
It'll
even said
fixed.
that too, because it was a younger couple. He's like, if it was just me and my wife,
they would have.
We could have just handled this.
They had a little,
but yeah, it's like
2-month
it's
old
like
newborn.
the mom and the
Yeah, so you're like, the safety of the family and the kids is number one in a cold weather like this. So
yeah.
The great thing is though, this could go on forever. That house is so insulated that it did not even get cold in there, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's not even cold in here, but okay.
Yeah.
So you went over there to talk to them, which thank God for you, because I was like, I can't handle this. I just need to do something else. And I did eBay.
Yep.
I was like, I'm taking pictures of high-end coats and jackets, and I'm listing them.
And you know, I came home and I got into my part of eBay, and doing eBay was a joy.
Oh my God, it's like stress relief. You're
Right.
like, oh, I just have to list this stuff on the internet? It's just, so why do I do anything else?
So for anyone that complains about doing eBay's like this, it's just like, I think when you try other things, sometimes eBay is a nice thing because you can control it, and it's like at your own pace.
You know, it's like you said, there's customer issues, and you have to, like, I'm dealing with some guy who has some crazy address in another part of the world, and I'm translating things and being like, I can't understand your address, but I'm trying. You know, it gets a little stressful where you're like, I gotta ship this thing out, you know? But really, that's the extent of it. That's not that bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, before we talk about eBay, one random thing. We were watching the last season of *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Which is a great show. We've been watching it for years, and then they put it up on Netflix like last month.
Which is a television show from AMC.
Yeah, it's a great...
It's about the
*Halt and Catch Fire*. It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
It's about the computer industry, you know, from the 70s up till now. But really...
The 80s.
80s? No. Anyway.
It starts in 83.
Fine. So, but anyway, it wasn't really... Kind of the technology angle was kind of just the background. It's more about just like these... It's like a drama.
Yeah.
It's a drama.
It's about people.
Anyway, I only bring it up because one of the final episodes was, you know, it's one of the main character dies, and like all the other characters go to the guy's house, and they're basically like cleaning the house, like getting rid of everything.
Yeah.
They're, like taking his clothes and putting it in bags, and like taking stuff off shelves and putting it in boxes and figuring out who wants what. And I could not really get into it because I just wanted to go to that house because they're like taking bags and stuff and putting it on the lawn to get thrown away. And one guy went to Goodwill
and
with
gave
4 bags of
stuff.
clothes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wish
Those
I could.
are the people. Those are the people that give stuff away.
I wish I could go there. It was just like this instinct.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to get into.
It was funny to see it on TV. You were like, yeah, right, because that was a very emotional episode because they were all like reconnecting after this person died, and you're like, wait, what? Why are you putting that in a box? Let's sell it.
So, just quickly, I just wonder though, why other people don't have that feeling. I don't know. It's so interesting, or I don't know. I somehow broke through to the other side where I just can't see stuff get thrown away. It's like that without having an emotional reaction to wanting it and like give it to me, and like if you're not going to do anything with it, I'll take it. You know.
Well, because
whereas other people are just like, yeah, look at this $100 thing that I have. I don't want this. Just throw it away.
$100, them to put it up and wait. It's not worth their time.
Yeah, I guess
like that's what it is. Like people who have regular jobs. Like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about eBay. This week was quieter than normal, but it was steady.
Yeah, it was steady.
Not as many big ticket items for us sold, but let's look at the numbers and see what the truth is. Okay, so we sold. It's 50. It's 7 items, which seems about the average we've been doing. You know, about a 60. I mean, that's why I'm like, this year has been great. I mean, we've been kind of doing almost 10 items a day.
Yeah.
For a while now. It feels like.
Which is how it's great.
We made about $2,100 in our main store. Again, anything over 2,000, like for us, like that's a number.
That's a great number. You know? That's our goal. That's been
like
our
if
goal.
we will. It grossed $2,000 in a week. That's great.
That's amazing.
Not including shipping costs.
Right.
Because that's not really profit.
Well, no.
And then our second store, our autopilot store, we sold, it's 9 items for $360. You know?
I mean, you can't beat that. We're under 1,000 in that store.
Right. The way we have it done now is that basically the second store is paying for our helper, in like a bunch of fees.
Yeah, it is. It's help. That's true. That's funny. Well, because
nice.
we don't do any work on that store except ship.
Right.
I don't touch that store.
Right, but I mean, I'm saying just because of the way we have the accounts done is that the money that comes from the second store goes into an account, and then that account pays for,
That's true.
It's nice.
Yeah.
So, okay, things we sold. We'll just name a couple things. We sold we'll talk about it, a big knife.
Yeah, it was a Henkel's knife. And this is true vintage Henkels. Like right now you can buy Henkels. They're made wherever they're made.
It's pretty good. Places. It's pretty nice.
No, it is like the finest. I mean, this blade is like a 1/4 inch thick. It's carbon steel. It's handmade, probably early 1900s. I sold it for $260 last night.
Ebony wood handle.
Yep. I mean, it's
where you pick it up and it feels
like a cleaver.
Right.
But it's a 10-inch knife.
A kitchen knife, yeah. And so we had talked about this before. We had bought it at an auction where there was a table of knives.
And other various stuff.
And you know what? A wilderness
Santa was on that table.
Had been on the table, and everyone was focused on these knives. There were like 6.
But no one was really bidding against you for the knives. I mean, up to $50.
So we bought the whole table for $50, and it included a $900 wilderness Santa
and a $260 knife.
And there's a bunch of other stuff.
And I have several other knives that I'm still selling.
Cool.
Well, that's the table where I was packing everything up. Because I wanted to pack those knives because I didn't want anyone to touch them. 2 older gentlemen were like, "Oh, do you want to sell those knives?" I was like, "Nope." Yeah. That's why I bought the table. Why do you think I bought this table, you kooks? Yeah.
We sold a pair of shoes for $125. And yes, that's good. Like, if we sell shoes for over $100, that's good. The reason why I mentioned is these are shoes that got returned to us.
Oh, we talked about this last week.
Oh, we did? Okay,
just
a month
FYI.
Ago. Okay. Anyway, I'll talk about it again.
These shoes got returned to us. The guy bought them for $60.
And we sold more.
And then a week later, they sold for double. So that made me feel much better.
So this is first me, and then it's you. So for me, we were at a thrift store, and I like to go through everything. Like, I hate thrift stores that are neat, I hate them. Like, we have one thrift store that has... I guess they got a new manager or something.
Or the manager just... whatever.
And they went from kind of piles everywhere and nooks and crannies to now everything's hanging up on hangers. And it's like a Goodwill. And anyway, I was in one of these junky thrift stores going into my piles. And it's just like sheets and towels. It's gross, right? You're like, this is so gross. But I'm like, there might be something here. And I found an old flag, like a military flag.
Yes.
I didn't know what kind of flag it was because it looks...
Someone eventually told us online what it was.
Anyway, it sold for $90. I didn't know... How do we find out what it was?
Okay, so...
Some guy messaged us?
So a lot of times with like vintage military stuff, I'll do the best I can with like the research and the image and whatever I think it is. And I'll put it up there. There are so many like military guys who were in the military or just hobbyist collectors.
That's not the 46 armament. That's the 48th.
Exactly.
Chemical.
I think it was like chemical engineer corps or whatever. Like some kind of signal flag, but it was handmade and it was wool.
Right.
So we knew it was old.
And the reason why I like this story is because, number one, I found it in old sheets, and it was going to get thrown away at some point.
Yeah.
And it is like, it was some handmade thing.
It was beautiful.
And it's a piece of military history.
Right.
And now some
So
guy
it went to a
has
collector.
It. Yeah.
Well, so the other thing, too, was at first when I didn't really know what it was called, I had kind of a lowish price on it. Maybe like $40, $50. And then once I knew what it was, I was like, okay, I'm going to put the price at $100. And then this guy kept messaging me, I'll give you 50, I'll give you 55, whatever. Right. And finally I was like, nope, 90, minimum 90.
Yeah. Some people just,
and then finally he was like, okay, 90.
It's one of those things where it's like, this is like one of a kind. Like, you'll never find this.
And
why
you're just nickel and diming me.
But some people, and I'm like that too. It's like, just give me $10. Like, I want it so bad, I will obsess about it, but just give me some money off.
we're going to talk about some trash cans now.
I sold two wooden trash cans for $160.
You bought the trash cans for $6 each, but they were solid wood.
Yep.
One of them was damaged, but I helped fix it. Well, I didn't fix it. I stained the edge so that it matched the rest of the dark wood.
I mean, Ryan, look, it's
who
always...
gets credit?
It's always both of us.
It is. Because we both do everything.
It's always both of us. Like, I know... Because I got it... Look, I'm gonna keep complimenting it's myself. Like, it's okay to do that.
Yeah,
it's
fine.
okay to do that. I'm a humble guy, but it's good to know is my strengths.
Right.
I'm pretty good about identifying weird, cool things.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'm not the kind of guy that likes to go and just, like, I'm always, like, golf shirt. Like, let's buy, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I like the weird stuff. And I saw these two old wood trash baskets, and they look like they would go in, like, a
law office or an accounting office.
You know, some guy that has all dark wood and, like, pictures of, like, the Capitol or something, you know. Anyway, so $160. I love it.
I mean, when those sold last night, I was like, that is a great sale.
I love it because I know I can find stuff and like that, and then you're able to help identify it and really find the best price.
Yeah, I just put them up high because I was like, they're solid wood. They're some kind of hardwood because they're heavy.
Yep.
And the weird thing is, this sounds so weird. If you want like a nice looking trash can, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy. You're like, it's a trash can, but you know, if it's solid wood and it's a good brand and it's lacquered or whatever, it's like, it costs $80.
And then we just sold a bunch of jackets and coats, obviously, this time of year.
Yeah.
A lot of them were fairly low dollar, a lot of them were old. And it's interesting, you know, we have such a large inventory and we don't get rid of stuff that when I go through our inventory, it's like a time capsule of what
we used to buy, right?
Yeah, like these are jackets that I would never buy.
Yeah,
now.
you're like, why?
No brand,
just ratty.
Yeah,
you're like, it's vintage though. It's
weird,
like, no,
like styles that just haven't even come back, and you know, it's like,
but you know, it was so cold in most of the country this week that like people were buying jackets, and coats, long wool coats.
Yeah,
it's fine,
bread and butter stuff, you know.
You know, I'm glad to get it out of our inventory.
So, Scavenger of the Week, I would say it was these candelabras, candlestick holders, you know?
Yeah, we bought these vintage, it's silver plate.
Right.
And they were Danish because they came in the original box from like the 40s or 50s because the telephone number was like 5 numbers. And what was interesting about them and about a lot of silver is they'll have these hallmarks, or they're also called essays.
I'm learning.
Yeah, no, trust me, it's all about Google. I'm like,
tell me more.
So I noticed them, and I was like, okay, so this is the maker's mark, and it also usually has a date or a country mark.
But often, like, they're really
so
tiny,
small.
and got a magnifying glass, and it looks like a bird in a nest, and like
no, it
like
wasn't. It looked
oil derrick, and you know, just like all these weird symbols. Yeah.
Well, 2 of the symbols were initials, but they're like fancy initials that are kind of stylized. So you're like, am I reading these initials right? I don't even know. One of the symbols looked, the way it was pressed onto the metal looked like an oak leaf. But then I was like, you know what? I don't think that's an oak leaf because I can't find anything online that Danish oak leaf, you know, silver hallmark. I can find nothing. I'm like, that's not what it is. So I started going through eBay and looking for Danish silver, anything Danish silver, so that I could look at the mark differently on the silver. And what it was it was a fish because it was actually stamped sideways incorrectly on the candle holder.
So people who are new and they email us like, tell me if this is valuable. Right. I mean, so this is how it's done.
Yeah.
All you did was you did the best search you could, and you look in Google under images.
Right.
I bet you could do Bing as well. And then you just go through the images.
Through everything. And also other eBay listings, like I said, where I was like, other people have something with this symbol. Just so I can know. So that's this Danish symbol for silver, is this fish. It's on a lot of Danish silver.
And now that if we know that, we will never
forget it.
that. So when we're at an auction and we pick up a thing, we're like, oh, it's Danish silver,
right?
We'll be one of those people who
knows
like,
it.
This person's incredible.
Well, what's funny is I had searched for it a bunch. I would say about an hour. And I couldn't find anything. And then I posted it on our forum under the identification. And through me posting it on the forum, I kind of like got a spark of an idea of like, I don't think this is an oak leaf. It looks kind of like a fish. So I started looking through that, and like no one had answered me yet on the forum because it had been like 5 minutes and I had already figured it out. I was like, oh, I found the maker name and the blah, blah, blah. And so I kind of posted my process on the forum, and people were like, oh, good job. But it was sort of like posting it kind of sparked me to like do my search differently. So I love stuff like that because then, like you said, it's kind of in your knowledge bank where you're like, oh, this is what it looks like, you know, for a vintage thing like this.
Right.
So anyway, that was a very long story, but they're beautiful.
It's a great story.
Yeah. They're nice pieces.
I love that story.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
So as we were talking, I realized like I haven't been getting messages from the forum. I was like, man, it's been really quiet. I just realized that all of my Scavenger Life emails that because I have it email me whenever someone posts to a thing has been going to it's my spam. This happened like 4 months ago, so I just looked and they were all in spam. Again. So anyway, I unspammed them, and then Orion helped me make a filter. Anything that comes from Scavenger Life will not be spam. Don't send to there.
I don't know why it happened again. I just don't know if Google like changed something or whatever. I will say this though: the other day, I was working on something and I had Google. It was like Google, YouTube, Google Docs, whatever, email me a verification, and that went into spam. So Google's own emails are going into spam. So something's going on with their filters.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just bring it up because if you have not been getting notifications from our forum, check your spam and tell it your spam. It's not to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
If you care. If you think it is spam, then that's cool too. Customer issues, I don't want to go too deep into this, just a couple of things. We sold an iPhone. You know, we always talk about this. We sell everything that we own. Yes. And so when we have old electronics, we buy something new and then we sell the old thing. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's an old iPhone, but we were able to sell it for $50.
Yep.
The issue is I find when we sell any kind of computers or electronics, I mean, and we don't do it very often.
Yeah.
It seems like it's always the most problematic sales.
Yep.
So this guy got it. He said it didn't work. It didn't turn on, and he wanted to return it. And we were like, okay, return it. And he opened up a return case, and he never returned it, and so we closed the case. I think sometimes people don't know how to operate the items, or like you said, like he might have been trying to fish for a
partial refund. I mean, look, for electronics too, I will say this: I make sure they're fully charged and I test them right before I ship.
Yeah.
Too, just to be like, it's not like it's a dead battery.
Right.
You know?
I mean, and we also had my old computer online. Mm-hmm. When we bought this thing in 2011, it was like the best Mac you could buy, a MacBook Pro. You know, it's older now, and I got a new one, but still a solid computer. Anyway, this guy bought it, and we don't do auctions or a make offer on these things because we've learned that people will buy it and then they don't pay. So people have to pay immediately. He bought it, he paid immediately. He sent a message immediately and said, please cancel this. We're like, oh, you crazy guy. So, you know, I don't complain about it too much because we're just selling our old stuff. But people out there who sell these things on a regular basis, God bless you. You know, like I know that it's not easy.
It's tough.
The other thing is, like the used car salesmen say, buyers are liars.
Wait, I have never heard that from a used car salesman.
They're like, buyers are liars. I mean, that's totally extreme, but I'll bring it up in this example.
Right.
Probably once every couple of months, we'll get a person that buys an item.
Yeah.
You know, they make us an offer, they buy it, and then we're like, please pay. And then finally we get a message. Oh, I just got into a car accident and I'm in the hospital.
And I can't pay.
And I can't pay you. Please cancel it. And I'm just like, or you know, like, I just got cancer. Or my wife died.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard the cancer one.
Right.
Whereas a lot of people do get cancer.
I mean, I'm like, even if any of this stuff is true, just cancel. You know, just send a cancellation request. And we'll cancel. But when people do that, we just like we're just silent, and we allow the eBay case to close. So we had that happen a couple days ago, where a person bought like a $16 T-shirt, and then suddenly she was in a car accident and
couldn't pay.
Yeah, it's like, you can't pay, but you can.
But you can message me. Well, that's the thing that always kills me. You're like, oh, I'm like, even for any, you know, not those excuses, but when people are like, oh, I'm traveling right now and I can't pay. I'm like, yet you messaged me on your phone.
Yeah.
You can pay me through your phone too.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, it's so wacky.
It's fine.
Anyway.
Liars are liars.
Don't say that. We always don't like it when people have that attitude.
I'm saying it in a funny way. I don't
way.
really believe that.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes they do. Things we learned in the forum, I was going to be like, there's nothing happening in the forum. Maybe.
Yeah, you did.
And then
you're like, I have like 25 emails from the forum.
I have like 40 emails to read. So it looked like a lot was going on in the forum.
So go on the forum and look.
I am just not aware of it. Okay, our coming week. You know, I feel like it's not going to happen, but I'd love to go to an auction.
Look, the day the auction's happening, I have like way too much stuff happening. Yeah. Unfortunately.
It's like, I love auctions and we always get so much good stuff, but yeah. It's one of those things where it just takes time, you know? And so can we go next week?
Let's try it. Let's just okay, at this point in time,
I'm going to pencil it in.
We have to look at our cleaning schedule.
I'm going to pencil it in, okay?
Yeah. I would like to.
Good. So it's now on the calendar.
All right.
Don't plan anything for that day.
Now that it's on the calendar.
Okay. All right.
What did you cook this week?
Yeah, so we have this new topic.
Scavenger food. Hey, I do have to mention something on the forum, though. And this has to do with, what did you cook this week?
Really?
Yeah, you weren't on the forum all week now.
Tell me about it.
We made I made like a food topic category.
What?
Because someone was like, oh, I would love to share some scavenger recipes. What? And they were like, we need a food topic under random thoughts.
Right.
So I made one.
Wow.
And I was like, check out this recipe for low-carb bread that is amazing.
Cool.
And someone else was talking about a very delicious-sounding curry dish that I would love to try.
I'm into it.
So there is that section now. If you're like, I have this great recipe, it's so easy, it's so good, you can eat on it for a week.
Yeah.
As Jay says.
He said that?
No.
I love when people say that. You can't eat on things.
See, you're not even looking at the forum right now because I called it like
I'm doing the podcast.
Scavenger food to eat on or something like that.
So we only bring this up because it's my new passion is pre-cooking meals.
Yeah, so they're ready to go.
I love it. So that way it saves us time.
Yeah. You just grab a packet and eat it.
Also, I feel like I'm eating better because I'm proportioning it's my meals better. So anyway, I cooked. It's salmon and kale.
We had, at our grocery outlet, they had all this frozen salmon, which sometimes you're like, is that any good? But honestly, in the Instant Pot, it tastes great.
Yeah, it's good.
You just throw it in
Healthy,
there, it's great.
And so it's 5 meals. Yep.
I talked about it last week. There's a recipe for butter chicken. Mm-hmm. It was so good.
Right. So that was a week ago. What are you gonna?
Well, I still have. So it makes so much sauce,
right?
That I cooked more chicken, and now I'm about to make my 4 little food packet things.
Yeah.
Because I this week was crazy. I'm like, what food packets? I don't know what that is, or whatever they're called. And so I have 4 like chicken thigh things, so I'm gonna put it with the extra sauce. And here's something that I do. This podcast is gonna be 2 hours long.
Come on.
So with frozen cauliflower, what you can do is you can throw it in the Instant Pot with some broth or water or whatever. You cook it for 5 minutes. And then you open it up and you saute it just to get some of the liquid out. And it basically makes like fake mashed potatoes. Like just with a spoon, it starts getting into the mash. So that's super low carb because you're not eating potatoes, but you're eating like a, you put salt, butter.
It's got the
salt,
same
pepper,
texture.
and butter.
Right.
It's so good. So that's my...
Yeah.
And so I cooked that with the butter chicken.
Yeah, I hate cauliflower, but we were at a Walmart a couple days ago.
We bought like all of it.
And we bought like 30 bags of frozen cauliflower.
But I go through a lot of it.
And the girl, it was like a young girl checking us out.
Bags,
and she was like,
What are you
doing with all this cauliflower? I was like, ask her.
I was like, I'm just stocking up because I eat it all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of like cauliflower, and I do understand it. It's just kind of like it takes on whatever you want it to. It's become so it can be like a rice, it can be like a mashed potato,
right?
It can be a custard.
I have made weird dessert things out of it. No, it wasn't a dessert thing. It was a fake oatmeal.
Okay,
and it was delicious.
Right. Cool.
But you don't have to eat it.
All right, let's answer questions of people who have called in.
You can call our voicemail number at 540-407-8486. Okay, this is a message that we forgot to play last week. For some reason, I got mixed up and I didn't see it, so we're going to play it now.
Hi, Ryan and Jay. This is Bryant from Henderson, Nevada. I think eBay owes you a debt of gratitude for all the great information you're dishing out, making all of us better sellers and improving the buying experience overall. My question is about clothing. I deal in customer returns and overstock. I recently got a box of high-end clothes, mostly good and clean, but some with some issues. And just for an example, there are a pair of Italian wool slacks. The retail is about $200. They have a small tear under a pocket. It's maybe the size of a nickel. Is this something that you would repair? Would you sell it as is, obviously taking photos to show it? Or is there no value whatsoever? Thanks for all you do. This question will end in 3, 2, 1. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice of you to say.
Thank you very much.
So
yes, we these days just choose to not buy things that have damage because there's so many clothes to buy. We only buy something with a bit of damage if it's, like a super incredible piece of clothing. So, but I understand in your case, you bought like a big thing of clothes.
Right,
so you're trying to squeeze the juice out of it. So I understand that. In our case, we would just show the damage and sell it as is. So
be very clear. Put it in your item specifics that there's a tear.
It's got to be in the item specifics.
The condition specific.
eBay will back you up if it's in the item specifics.
And you take a photo,
and then, so you're not going to get the $200, but maybe you'll get $50,
Maybe it's someone who just wants a nice wool pair of pants to wear around the house. Who knows? Who cares?
But, if you're willing to put the work into it, then that's cool.
Yeah. This answer will end in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Michelle from St. Louis. I enjoy listening to your podcast. What I'm calling about is I have a quick question. I thought I heard that when you call eBay, if you've issued refunds on shipping, they will look up the item, if you give them the item number, and then they will give you some type of credit. And that someone who called in said they usually build up a bunch of them and then they end up getting a credit. I just called eBay to do that exact same thing, and they said, absolutely not. We do not issue refunds on shipping. And over the year, I've probably issued a couple $100 in shipping fees just to be a nice guy. That's the only reason why. I was told that it is money out of my pocket and that I should not do that anymore. The eBay rep also said if eBay issued refunds to me for the shipping refunds that I gave the customer, that they would lose too much money and no longer be in existence, which I remarked I didn't believe her and that was really a dumb comment. I guess I was annoyed at that point. I told her I had heard it on a podcast and that others were receiving some type of credit, and I wanted to know if that's at all possible. And she said, no, she had trouble finding the item number that I gave her because it was from October. And so I'm just calling to see if I misunderstood this whole issue of giving someone a refund on shipping. Some people I gave $2.92, some people I gave $9.71, some I gave 97 cents to. I just think, if I wanted to get it as close to the number of what it actually cost, and eBay will not stand behind doing that. So it's all on record with PayPal. Could you just please explain that one more time? Thank you very much. I enjoy your podcast. Have a great New Year. Hope you're having a great holiday. Bye.
So explain to me what's going on. So someone buys something from her and they complain, and she's like, oh, I'll just give you all of your money back.
Well, she's not being clear what shipping refunds she's saying, but I'm assuming she means when someone ships something back to her and they're like, I just didn't like it. So she's refunding them the shipping. I don't know why you would do that. I would never do that.
She's being a nice person. That's right.
She's being a nice person, but it's just like eBay said, that's money out of your pocket with no guarantee that you'll get it back.
So if you as a seller want to be a nice person, you can refund people. Someone buys a shirt, says, I don't like it, just doesn't work for me. They send it back. eBay only requires you to give the money back for the item itself.
Right.
And the buyer's supposed to pay to ship it back and forth. If you're a nice person and want to give them all their its money, that's fine. But yeah, that's on you. I mean, that's just you being a nice person. But that's not what you should do as a business.
So why does that make me harsh? Because you just said exactly what I said.
Because, I mean, I'm giving her some credit for being a nice person, Like, that's great she's doing that, and I bet it makes people very happy,
But now she's upset at herself for putting that money out.
She should only get upset if she does, if she feels like it's not worth her being a nice person.
Right.
Like, she just needs to, is that just a cost of doing business for her? Like, she likes to be a nice person. That's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a nice person, but you don't have to be that nice,
Right. You need to decide what makes sense. I have never heard that eBay... I mean, I guess someone did call in and say that eBay would give you a credit. I've never tried that. I've never known that to be a policy.
Give us a credit.
She said that someone called in to the podcast and said they did that.
Okay.
So she heard it somewhere. She heard it on our podcast, is what she's saying. And so, yeah, I don't think that's an eBay policy. I don't know how that person who called in is doing that. Or maybe that was something that worked a couple of years ago and is just like, no.
Right. Yeah, the only time we refund a buyer for a shipping cost is if we've done something wrong.
If it's
and
my
then
fault.
we assume all costs.
Right, exactly. Yes. That was a heated answer.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. I just want to let everybody know that's on eBay that if you have listings that have UPC field that's not filled in, your listings may not be showing correctly. They may be delisted. You at least have to put do not or none apply on it. I had 150 listings during the holidays that weren't listed, and I didn't know about it. So just check your ended listings and see if you have anything hiding in there that is missing that field. I thought this might help people. Thanks for all the work you do. Bye.
So my question is this. Did eBay not email you when they ended those listings because of that situation? That seems crazy to me, because whenever I end a listing for whatever reason, it sends me an email that's like, this is the new terminology on the subject line, relisting this item as easy as 1, 2, 3. So I'm surprised that you didn't even get a message that those had been ended.
You're right. I'm looking through our ended right now, and I don't see anything that we didn't end ourselves.
Right.
I mean, I do know what he's talking about in the sense of, eBay started this a couple of years ago where they expected you to have to fill that field in. And yeah,
even if it did not apply.
Right. Even if you say do not apply or does not apply. And so I actually was doing that a couple days ago. I was going through a bunch of old stuff, and it was before they had asked us to do that.
Is it only on new items?
No. I mean, that field is now on everything. It's just I was going through old items, and it just was not filled in. So I just would choose, does not apply, thinking that maybe it pushes us down in the search results.
Right.
I don't know. But it wasn't ending them.
It wasn't ending them, which is good. But still, yeah.
I love to hear about other people who
go
see
check
that.
your unsold.
I mean, I guess my question to this guy is, do you list good till canceled or the 30 days? Because I just wonder if some people get confused about, like,
maybe.
Did eBay really cancel it, or did it just
get
cancel
ended
by
and
itself?
not relist automatically or something?
I
don't know the answer. Well, thanks for bringing that up anyway. Okay, that is it for the podcast this week. You can check out the blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discuss and to join the conversation on the forum. You can call and leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video that shows what sold and how much it sold for, currently being brought to you by Steven Schultz. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube so you always get the latest episode. And this podcast is ending in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.